What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? BOOGIE2988 coming at you live once again to the power of the internet. And this is my rambling video for the week. And this week I thought I would dedicate this entirely to the concept of YouTube money. And the reason I'm doing this is because it's currently trending once again. Philip DeFranco made a video about it yesterday. FauciTube has been tweeting about making $200,000 a month and then spending that, never being able to spend it, satiating his greed. And because of that, a lot of people on Twitch last night were asking me how much money I make. Several people on Twitter today have asked me how much I made. And this comes up about once a year. You know, every once in a while, somebody publishes an article about PewDiePie making $17.5 million a week or whatever. And then people start asking these questions. Now, the point of this video is not to brag about how much money I make or whether or not I'm successful on YouTube or anything along that lines. Though I will try to, within reason, give you the tools to gauge how much money I make. For legal reasons, I'm going to be very careful about saying the specific numbers, but you'll be able to figure it out yourself. The second reason I want to do this video is because I feel like being clear with you guys is important, especially because I have a Patreon that allows people who use AdBlock to donate that way. You can donate via the Twitch stream if you want to. I want to make sure you have the tools in mind so that you fully understand how much income we already have coming in and make an educated decision of whether or not you ever want to participate in that kind of thing. And thirdly, the reason I want to make this video is I want to remind you that this is a brand new medium that is very, very lucrative. And you could be as successful as me. You could be as successful as some of the top tier YouTubers who are making millions of dollars. You too could be bringing $200,000 or $300,000 a year, like FauciTube, or sorry, a month, like FauciTube, and spend it on whatever the hell you want to. The first thing I want to do is say that it's fairly easy to gauge how much ad revenue a YouTube channel is bringing in. And I'm going to give you a fairly simple tool. If there's a website called Social Blade, there's also VidStats X, and these will allow you to see how many views per day or per month or per year or even across a lifetime that a YouTube channel is getting. So let's take, for example, a YouTube channel similar to mine that's bringing in 10 million views per month. If you divide that number by 1,000, you'll get an idea of how many thousands, how many C units, I think is what they call it, how many thousand units of 1,000 that they are pushing through every month. So if a website or if a channel is pushing through 10 million views, that gives you 10,000 units of 1,000. In each of those individual blocks of 1,000, I would say a bare minimum that a person will earn is probably 80 cents or $1. I think $1 is a fairly good judgment. Now, it could be considerably more depending on what field that channel is on, what kind of products they talk about, what they do, the kind of people that advertise on it, the multi-channel network they're with, but it could be $2 or $3 or $4. And then there's lots of other factors going in. Of course, you pay taxes on that. They might have people on their payroll that they have to pay, a lot of different things. But you could say if a YouTube channel is bringing in 10 million views per month, divide that by 1,000, you've got 10,000. Multiply that by $1 and you'll have a really good idea of how much ad revenue that channel is bringing in. Now, good businessmen will always diversify their income stream. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. I obviously do paid promotion occasionally with Loot Crate and recently Glasses USA, and a lot of channels do that. That can be very, very lucrative. They can sell their own merchandise. They can run their own service. They can create their own video games like PewDiePie did with his recent video game Tuber Simulator. Pretty good game, by the way. There's all kinds of different ways to monetize this once you have it. But when it comes to just the basic ad revenue, that'll give you an idea of how much they're taking home. And of course, you know, Google has it split that's taken before that number. There's a lot of different things that factor into it. But if you start a YouTube channel today, you will not be making that kind of money. Getting up to 1 million views a month probably means you're making $1,000, $2,000, maybe $3,000 a month from that channel. It'll take you a long time to build to that. I have been at YouTube now for 13 years. I've been doing this, for 10 years. I have the number 13 in my head, and I'll tell you why in a second. But I've been doing this for 10 years, and only in the last 7 years have I brought in any income. And only in the last 4 or 5 years have I brought in enough income to make my family, quote, unquote, rich, right? Here's something I want you to know about me. The majority of the money we make goes into the bank. We do not live very large by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, obviously, I'm large, but we do not spend a grotesque amount of money like FauciTube is bragging to do. We keep our money. And the reason being, we are fairly simple people, me and my wife. For me, The day I considered myself rich was the day that I had the electric bill paid, the water bill paid, the gas bill paid, gas in my car, and I knew that I had some money left over. That's the day that I felt rich. I grew up completely fucking broke. First 35 years of my life, completely broke. There was a couple years in my mid-20s where I ran a successful small business, but I ran that business into the ground very, very quickly. But it is possible to get to the point that you have supplemental levels of income here on YouTube. And it's fairly easy to get to that point after a year or two of building that small business. Some people will do it in even a shorter time, 3 months, 6 months sometimes. Some people will get very, very lucky. If you are willing to put in the amount of time and learn how to edit and learn how to script and learn how to film and learn how to promote on social media and learn how to promote your channel and learn how to build your channel and learn how to create the videos, and then eventually be willing to use some of that money to invest back in on the channel and invest back in on yourself, and you're willing to practice and you're willing to do this every single day with all of your free time, you can build a small business here. And that's the point of this video, is to remind you that this is a brand new medium that did not exist when I was growing up. This is a brand new way for anybody, provided they have a little bit of talent, they have a good amount of time, they have access to the technology, they have the good internet speed, and they can afford it, and they have the time to invest in it. You can build a small business here. And what you choose to do with that business is entirely up to you. You can do what we're doing, which is banking the majority of the money, because I never know what's going to happen. I never know if I'm going to have a heart attack or a stroke that makes me not be able to work. I don't know if I'm ever going to pass and leave my wife alone. I want to make sure she's taken care of if that does happen. I don't know if my YouTube bubble is going to burst and people are going to stop wanting to click on my face. I don't know when that's going to happen. So we bank the majority of our money. There are some people out there that are doing some really great shit. Sure, there are people who are spending $200,000 a month on excessive garbage. Plenty of people do that. And I buy a fair share of my garbage as well, to be fair. But there are people out there like Philip DeFranco, who's turned it into a large production company that produces several channels worth of content every single day and employs dozens and dozens of people. There are people like the Vlogbrothers, Hank and John Green, who have taken that money and they've invested it in their futures and other people's futures, and they've hired dozens and dozens of people and created things like VidCon and the Internet Creators Guild and several channels, educational channels, and several charities. They're actually changing the world. YouTube gives you the opportunity to not just pay your rent, which is what it did for me for a really long time, or pay my extensive medical bills. You know, we pay $750 a month for insurance, and now I'm seeing my doctor a couple times a month. My medical bills are the largest thing that I pay for by bar none. You know, buying a new Xbox is nothing compared to one visit to my endocrinologist, but that's just the cost of life. But fortunately, YouTube allows me to pay for that. And it could eventually be to the point that you can hire other people. You can create new things. You can put new things into the world. Now, I did say at the beginning of this video, I try to give you an idea of how much money I make. The question came up on stream last night, and it keeps coming up all the time. Boogie, are you a millionaire? Well, it depends on how you calculate millionaire. Do I have the assets to be worth $1 million? If you include my YouTube channel as it is, yes, because I have had it evaluated, and it's currently been evaluated at $850,000. So if I were able to sell this YouTube channel, theoretically, I would be able to put $850,000 in the bank. The problem is I have not built a business like College Humor or even Philip DeFranco. I can't sell what I've created. I am what I've created here on YouTube. So the best I could ever hope for is someone investing in this and then me working for them giving me the $850,000 and then I work for them, which would be a bad deal for them. It would be a bad deal for me. So I don't really consider that asset. Has my YouTube channel earned over $1 million in ad revenue? No, not in the last 10 years. Here's where the number 13 comes into mind. After 3 more years, I'll have earned, hopefully by then, $1 million total in YouTube ad revenue. So will I be a millionaire then? No, because we have spent a lot of that money cycling it back into the business. We paid a tremendous amount. I will not have assets worth $1 million in 3 years, but I will have earned my first million, and I'll be the age of 45, provided my health holds out and provided that this business holds out. Hopefully I'll have earned my first million. And I will count that because I'll never have $1 million in the bank. I'll never have $1 million worth of assets. Even with this house is paid off, I still want to have $1 million worth of assets. This house is not that expensive. It's certainly not $1 million home. So I don't know, but how are we rich? My bills are paid, my electric's paid, my water's paid. I can go to the doctor anytime I want to. If I need something for the business, I can. And I can buy all the video games I want. Hell, occasionally I buy new shirts. It's nice. It's a lot nicer than the way I grew up, and it's a lot nicer for the first 35 years of my life. We are rich beyond our measure, rich beyond our means. And if we lived in LA, we'd probably be LA broke. If we lived in New York, we'd be New York broke. We live in Arkansas, which has a very reasonable cost of living, so we do very, very well here. And I owe that to you. That comes entirely from you. The viewers at home, I put a lot of work into the back end of this thing. There's a lot of hours and a lot of time and a lot of stress and a lot of garbage and a lot of juggling and a lot of reading contracts and doing phone meetings and doing business meetings and all that stuff that I do. And I don't work a fraction as hard as most of the other YouTubers I know. Of course, they don't make a fraction of the money. And that's the question that I hear often enough. Are there YouTube millionaires that make millions from this website? Absolutely. Some that make millions in ad revenue, some that make millions in the based on the other things that they do. There's a tremendous amount of money to be made here. Does every YouTuber take home $1 million? Absolutely not. Is every YouTuber rich? By no stretch of the imagination. A lot of the YouTubers you think are rich are probably rich, but a lot of them are not making the kind of money that people presume that they are. That's often the case for me. That's not to say I'm happy with what we're making. It's infinitely better than I could have ever dreamt. And I'm very, very pleased with it. But what's more important above all of this is to tell you that if you have the time, if you have the patience, if you have the talent, and you invest in this industry, there's a real chance that not only could you pay your bills one day, not only could you use it to buy the supplemental video game from time to time, but if you do something that nobody else is doing, and the audience reacts to it, and you get lucky, and you put the time and the effort into it, you could change the world a little bit like the Vlogbrothers do. And I hope that happens to you. I really do. And I encourage you to give it a try. Because even if you fail, and this is something I'll tell you, I am successful now for the first time in my life through this YouTube thing. And I'm very proud of it. And I'm very grateful of it. But on that road to here, there's dozens of failures. But each one of those failures serves as a brick that holds up this success every single day. And I'm so proud of those failures, just as proud as I am of the success, because I'm so proud I tried, even though I failed. When I failed, I learned a lot of things. Maybe you'll succeed at this and that'll be great. Maybe you won't, and you'll learn something along the ways. Either way is fantastic, I promise you. Guys, thanks very much for watching. I love you very much. I'll speak with you again soon, and I'm sorry for having to re-record this video. Windows did some crazy update last night. It screwed everything up. Boy, the internet is certainly not being easy for me these days. But this video is a lot easier to make the second time around. Guys, thanks for watching. I love you very much. I'll speak with you again soon.